This video is going to be a film study look at the Detroit Lions' Week 9 visit to Green Bay to take on the Packers in another NFC North clash. I'm going to focus this one on Jared Goff. It'll be the third film study video I've done on Goff, I think, in the last 4 weeks. I think it's deservedly so because at this point he's in the middle of his best season ever. I think it's appropriate to say that. He's so efficient, accurate, and in all situations, whether it's under center, in the shotgun, even moving outside the pocket with pressure in his face. He's really been unflappable, particularly in the past 5 weeks. You guys know the numbers. I'm sure other people have covered it along with myself. I mean, I tried to put it out in the game reaction video to the win over the Titans last week. He's 83% completion percentage in the last 5 games, with 12 touchdowns versus 1 interception. His completion percentage for the year, I think, is at 74.7%, career high, obviously leading the NFL in that category, averaging 9 yards per attempt, leading the NFL, also his career high. And then the 6.9% touchdown rate, which is his career high, is insanity. 7% of his passes are going for touchdowns so far this year. Detroit's averaging 33 points per game. Now they go to Green Bay to face a Packers team that is also playing really well, 6-2, dealing with injuries, multiple injuries, 2 on the defensive side of the ball. Jair Alexander and Evan Williams, a starting safety rookie, who's kind of come into his own the last 3 or 4 weeks, had a hamstring injury last week. Neither one of those guys has practiced Wednesday or Thursday as I record this. I usually wait to put out previews until Friday. I'm going to do a complete preview Friday evening, Saturday morning, something like that, on the Packers offense, which I find to be very similar to Detroit's offense in a lot of ways. This is going to be a heck of a football game. The Packers were able to salvage a split last year after Detroit went up there and won in Green Bay early in the season, quite convincingly. Green Bay came to Detroit, shocking, really shocking, I thought, 29-22 win in Week 12, 17 points in their first 4 possessions, really took control early of that game. The Lions, if you recall, were in the middle of a rough 4-game stretch at that point. They went 2-2, easily could have been 1-3 were it not for the come-from-behind win against the Bears at home on Thanksgiving Day. Goff in the rematch, the loss, was 29 of 44 passing against the Packers. So accurate. He also produced 330-plus yards and 2 touchdowns, but he fumbled 3 times. The pressure was at times overwhelming. Rashawn Gary had 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Really, I thought, gave them trouble off the left side. That was a big hole for them to try to come back from. 2 fumbles lost on the first 3 possessions. What I want to do in this video is go over what I think are some quintessential or classic Lions pass concepts at this point, the ones that make Goff so comfortable, that he handles and executes so efficiently. He's just very smooth on these concepts. It's like he knows these plays like the back of his hand. This is an incredibly dangerous offense with Detroit. To go up there in Green Bay, I understand the weather won't be as bad as it could be in certain cases. Of course, it's the outdoor game. Goff on the road against a physical and fast defense, so there's a interesting dynamic. There are a lot of factors at play, I guess I should say. Here's the 3 things I want to cover. Under center play action game. And I'm going to break down and try to illustrate what I think are the core pass concepts that Jared Goff is comfortable with Ben Johnson calling. Number 2, against the blitz. At times this year, he's been impeccable. And I actually think certain teams, the Minnesota Vikings, chose to stop blitzing late in the game because they were getting basically torn up. Each of their blitzes seemed to get picked up in certain moments, I should say. And B, Jared Goff was able to find the open spot in either the zone or against man and really shred them. He's just been pure against the blitz. And then finally, some shotgun, classic Ben Johnson concepts that are just very difficult to defend from a horizontal and a vertical standpoint. One thing that I think a defense has to have on their checklist of things to take away from Jared Goff, Ben Johnson, and the Lions offense is their ability to run the football and then set up play action. So this first set of plays is going to be play action concepts, kind of quintessential Ben Johnson play calls, giving you the end zone angle for some of these. This is a dig route from the right-hand side by Tim Patrick. We'll show you multiple dig routes in this little segment here, but if you're a Lions fan, you understand what a dig route is. I don't feel like I have to show the all 22, but you can catch a little bit of Jamison Williams here running like a clear out concept, and then Patrick is going to come in from right to left underneath of that from an outside in angle to run the dig. And yes, there's people who talk about Jared Goff and relying on play action and the Lions' run game setting everything up. Describe it however you wish. It's surgically effective. And Jared Goff has been on target with overwhelming majority of his throws, particularly in the last 4 or 5 weeks, against some good defenses, most notably the Vikings. Shredded them again for 30-plus points for the third time in a row. These dig routes over concept here from the other side of the field, in fact, but I think an element that always is inherent in most of the pass concepts that they use is this triangulated nature, and I'll give you the all 22 a couple of times so you can see what I mean. It won't be in every single pass concept, but there will be enough of them such that hopefully you can understand what I'm talking about. And another thing to discuss is that the hash is a landmark for this team. Just like many teams in the pass game, the hash is a landmark. In this case, it's Sam Laporta. It can be a landmark by your predetermined route, but can also be a landmark if and when the quarterback is flushed out of the pocket, has pressure, and you, as someone who's involved in a scramble drill, know where to go. You know which part of the field to get to in order to make yourselves available for the quarterback. Hasn't been all dig routes or over concepts, although this next one that I will show you against Seattle kind of fits the bill. You get 2 deep crossers here. Jamison Williams with a 70-yard touchdown, and then the tight end from the other side. Actually, the routes are a little bit deeper than I just drew up there, but run out of screen. I'm zoomed in a little bit. This is a 1st and 10, and this makes it 35-20, I believe. And what I love about this throw, and I've talked about it a couple of times, is that, well, first of all, once Jamison Williams catches it, you know it's absolutely over. There's pressure. The pocket is being pushed back a little bit on him. These guys have held up just enough to let him get rid of the football. And you've got a second-level dropper here. The throw is to Jamison Williams. Look at Goff. I mean, he's throwing this ball on the other side here from where Jamison Williams currently is as he's starting his motion. He understood where the route was going to go. It's not anticipation. It's practiced. It's routine. Well, at this point, it actually is routine with him completing 83% of his passes. The guy knows the concepts that they're running on each particular play, understands how to exploit them based upon the blitz that the other team is running. I think you've got to try to take away the run game as much as you can if you're the Packers or any team that wants to slow down this offense at this point, which is absolutely rolling. And at times, I think you've got to bring pressure to stop the play action pass, meaning try to get Goff off his spot so it's just not like this. Him faking the handoff and then settling back. This is going to be a dig to Tim Patrick for 18 yards, right-hand side. This is one of those Josh Reynolds routes. I think he knows where he's coming. I think he knows he's coming back to this particular route, to be honest with you. I suspect that sometimes Goff is just looking to one side as almost like bait. You do have a potential vertical here, and then a tight end stalk, and then turn it into a wheel. You also have the motion man, Jamison Williams, out into the flat. I think Goff is just looking over here almost by rote practice. He knows he's going to come back to that dig. I don't know what his completion percentage is on these dig routes, but it's pretty damn high. Oftentimes it comes out of a bunch formation. So bunch to one side, quarterback under center, ace backfield, meaning one running back behind the quarterback on the midline. You get another dig from a Twins alignment. Post-snap, it's St. Brown. Left to right, Laporta, who was a part of the bunch, has cut across. It's Max Pro. I actually talked about this in a video that I put out Thursday afternoon, Wednesday evening, late Wednesday evening, in that it's a bunch set, but they're able to go Max Pro on it, still get 3 receivers out into the pattern. How? Well, the tight end Laporta has come across. They've chipped, and then sometimes they'll release this tight end and sit him down on the hash, running back in play action out into the flats, dig, and then a seam or a vertical. I need to get a different color annotation so I can tell it straight on the screen. And each route a different color. But this is This is brutally efficient at this point by the Lions and Goff. He's got to be 85% plus this year on dig concepts, if you ask me. And they've got complementary routes that he's willing to hit off of them. They've practiced this pass concept so much. I would say it's their bread and butter. Well, one of their 3 bread and butter pass plays that they can go to it in a big moment like this in the fourth quarter against the Vikings and not take the dig route. Instead, use that dig route to clear out a corner and then have the running back Gibbs run onto that open space. This is a huge play in the context of this drive. Yes, they were slow playing it, running the football at this point. It's a 16-yard gain, lightning quick to Gibbs off the right side. And I think it's precisely because the seam and the dig by St. Brown and Tim Patrick clear out all this space such that Gibbs can just run onto it. Very similar to what I drew up a moment ago against the Seahawks. The only difference was Goff took the dig route in that particular time. I would say they got 3 bread and butter pass plays. That, for me, is one of them. But when the run game is going, when they've got the under center run game going, Goff and Ben Johnson, I think, have built-in answers for what teams want to do to stop their base run plays, or in situations where they simply can't stop them and they just want to show off and throw the ball anyway. Oftentimes, these run concepts under center utilize motion from the tight end, and then they square up and go kick out an edge defender. So in this case, it'd be, I think it's Arden Key over here. But against the Titans last week, they go motion. He squares. He actually doesn't square up there. Continues running out into the flats, and you can see there is so much conflict created. Essentially, pick rub concepts on the inside there. The edge defender is left unblocked. Brock Wright, easy touchdown. I think put him up 21-14 early in the second quarter. It's too easy, some of these concepts, that once they've been set up, how the Packers try to stop the run, deal with the play action pass. I don't know. As I said, I usually try to hold off on some of my preview elements until after the injury report has come out on Friday. I suspect that they'll have to make a concerted effort, be intentional about stopping certain run concepts. And the problem that lies therein is Goff and Ben Johnson will call the play action concepts on first down and make you really pay in some of those situations. Unfortunately for opposing defenses that are trying to deal with Jared Goff and the Lions pass game specifically, he has drastically improved his ability to play against pressure, I think, in the last 3 or 4 years. I think you saw examples of it in 2023, but referencing that loss to the Packers at home in the rematch later in 2023, he was fumbled 3 times on 3 sacks like I talked about in the intro. This year, those things aren't occurring. The ball is out quicker. It seems like whatever prep, whatever study Ben Johnson, Jared Goff are utilizing to get ready for each game in terms of the blitz, in terms of pressure, it's almost like he knows what he's going to get, number one. Number two, in some of these situations where things have been unsettled post-snap, Jared Goff's been able to handle them with a little bit of mobility, a little bit of shiftiness, coming back to, and this is one of my favorite plays from this year. It's a 2nd and 2 against Seattle. I'm only showing you the end zone angle just so you can focus on Goff. Initially, I think look to the right-hand side as he gets in his drop, come back, look to the left, and then circle all the way back to Laporta, back on the right-hand side as Jahmyr Gibbs and Devin Witherspoon kind of battle it out on the left-hand side on this blitz. Goff somehow is able to juke to his left and get Witherspoon, an amazing athlete, to hedge to the outside just long enough so that while he's being tackled, potentially sacked, Goff gets this throw off. Not only is it a 9-yard gain to Laporta out in the flats, but also there's a face mask right here that pushes it down, I believe, to like a 24, 25-yard gain. And it's not the only time that Goff has done this year. Against Seattle again, under center, first quarter, early first quarter, in fact. I believe it's their first possession. 13 personnel, double motion. Whenever you see this, one tight end motion across, and then a second tight end or fullback motion back in the backfield, it's almost always been a play action pass. I think maybe Seattle must have known about it as well. This is Tyus Bowser before he left Seattle, getting a piece of Goff, spinning him around, and then Goff still completes it to Jameson Williams. I'll track back here. It's Jameson Williams against Reek Woolen. We'll track back here to the beginning of the play so you can see these guys, and then Goff spinning out of trouble. There's been 4 or 5 illustrations of this, maybe not to this extent, this impressive of a spin the wrong way, clockwise for a right-handed quarterback, and then getting his feet set to deliver the football. There's been 2 other examples, maybe 3, that aren't as physically impressive as that one, but his ability to handle the blitz, to throw, attack downfield, really make you pay. I think him and Ben Johnson forced Brian Flores to get out of his pressure packages later on in that football game. This is a touchdown in the second quarter to St. Brown. It sticks blitz 0, so tremendous stress put on the offensive line, any running back / tight end who's brought in to help in the pass pro. And they did a great job, obviously, scheming this up. Wide receiver, potentially running back, both on the same edge defender, everybody else working away. So they handled that problem. Goff looking to the left initially, you can see here, pulls this free safety, holds him, however you want to describe it, comes back to St. Brown, 35-yard touchdown. Just made a mockery of that sticks blitz 0 defense. And then later on in the game, this is actually later in the second quarter, when Brian Flores and the Vikings are showing this sticks blitz 0 look, heavy pressure, and they drop out, it's almost like Goff and Ben Johnson knew it. They had a great bead on when the Vikings were going to bring heat, bring pressure, and when they were going to show it and then drop back out. Big completion, 2.5, 2:20 left in the second quarter. This one to Sam Laporta, and you can see one of the defensive linemen, is going to be able to get to the outside of the right guard and then get his hands on Goff's hand, wrist, elbow, something such that the ball is kind of dying, and certainly not a great spiral, but Laporta makes the catch anyway. Jared Goff against the blitz this year, I don't know the stats. I'm not going to pretend to know the stats. I just watch the film and try to report to you my impressions. It's an easier thing for me to do because then I can just watch the film and be honest. I don't have to, A, remember what I said 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and B, I don't have to remember stats nor look them up. I can just tell you I think he's really damn good this year against the blitz. Those guys have occasionally used screens, don't get me wrong, and because they retain, the ability to run the football on third down, the willingness to run the football on third down, that is, it offers the defense a wider array of plays to defend on those 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 situations, bordering on being unfair at this point in terms of their conversion rate and how comfortable Goff is calling those run concepts on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, knowing that even if they don't get it and it's 4th and 3, Dan Campbell might go for it anyway. Even though watching the under center run game is pure fun for me, and I'm a huge advocate of using under center run concepts tagged with or complemented by play action concepts. I think it puts the defense in tremendous conflict, elongates the amount of time that second level defenders, inside linebackers, strong safeties / nickel defenders, elongates the amount of time they're put in conflict, can create horizontal and vertical conflict at the same time. Probably my most fun and enjoyable concepts to try to break down that Ben Johnson deploys is his shotgun passing game. And I think that was effective for the Lions last year. This year, they seem to have hit a different gear there, and that's why I reject some of the analysis evaluation by some really high-level professional people that Jared Goff is benefiting from the under center play action game, and that's predominantly what's pushed him to the 74.7 or 74.8% completion percentage this year. The shotgun passing game, which it seems like at this point in time, it's fashionable to call that a real passing attack. I don't know why under center, pistol, bootleg, sprint out stuff wouldn't be afforded the same recognition. It's all a pass play completed against NFL coverage concepts. In my opinion, Goff and Ben Johnson have a secret weapon, and that is their shotgun passing plays. I'm going to try to diagram what I believe to be one of their core pass concepts which is generally going to involve an underneath drag from one side of the field in the form of, in this case, St. Brown. Also, a route originating from the other side that becomes a sit down on the hash. Now, in this case, along with the sit down on the hash by Laporta and the drag by St. Brown, you've essentially got a clear out route down here by Jameson Williams with the running back releasing in the opposite direction. It's an easy completion to St. Brown, don't get me wrong, for 11 yards. The motion by St. Brown across really gives him a head start, number one. Number two, I think really provides tremendous eye candy for these guys. If Goff wanted to come back to Jahmyr Gibbs or Montgomery in the flats, anytime you've got this kind of vertical space between the second level defender and the running back, you'll take it because you get that guy on the run with a lot of space, a lot of field to work with. But Goff chose correctly here, in my opinion, in the form of St. Brown. But look, you could have swung it out here to the running back in the flats quickly, give him an opportunity to make somebody miss. You did hit St. Brown for 11 yards. You also could have hit Laporta here, and coming back later on, you probably would have had the deeper curl or hook route because this flat defender expanded with the running back a little bit late. My point is, this concept works pretty much no matter where you go to it, at least in 2024. Very similar against the Vikings, and I've talked about this one multiple times. The only difference is now the running back is not going to release opposite. So the running back is going to release here to the downside. Khalif Raymond, the drag underneath. And then Laporta, the same sit-down combination that I described on the previous play, the completion to St. Brown. There's no motion in this one. Raymond is already there, where the motion puts St. Brown at the snap. You can see Laporta, again, originating from this side, sitting down. Drag to Raymond, and what I really like about this is you get a block by Gibbs. This seems to be set up, part of the play, part of the design of the play, teaching those guys to do that if the drag is the target. In this case, it's a 3rd and 6. Khalif Raymond had a big impact in that game, obviously operating against Stephon Gilmore. I love this concept, and I think Ben Johnson has built in potential blocks downfield into multiple pass concepts. He's not the only guy that does that, don't get me wrong, but these things show up enough on film that, A, it tells you about the character of the guys that are playing, the selflessness that they have, but also the design element and the teaching. They had to have been taught or instructed to do these things. I think you've got another example of it here. Not the same pass concept, really a levels concept. St. Brown, the deeper in, Patrick, a Z under, if you will. And then to the downside of the screen here, Jameson Williams, his route, in my opinion, is designed to, make himself available for the football. But second of all, if this route is thrown underneath to Tim Patrick, which it is, it goes for 23 yards on a 2nd and 10, then Jameson Williams is set up right here, basically in the same position Jahmyr Gibbs was on the previous play. I think there's layers to the design. Oh, by the way, you do have another route that's sitting on the hash as the ball is completed. People call it a timing passing attack. I just think it's professional. I just think it's immaculate design by those guys as an offensive staff, putting players in certain places at a certain moment such that if the underneath route is caught, it affords you or offers you more opportunity for yards after the catch because you have a built-in blocker, basically a route that ended up on the other side of the field. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. The plays probably illustrate it better than I'm able to describe it. The motion by St. Brown that I showed earlier where he motions and then runs a drag underneath, how is it complemented or supplementary play along with it? Not motioning all across and then the slot out. I mean, whether there's a pick or a shield or not, and there certainly is here, Laporta's trying to press to the outside shoulder of this corner such that he gains his attention and then cross his face. That just leaves things open for St. Brown on the out. It's a brilliant throw by Goff. The timing of it, the catch, getting his feet inbounds. Again, it's a slot out by St. Brown from somewhat similar motion to what I described to you a moment ago. Great accuracy off of a double pump. There's a lot of confidence in Jared Goff's arm right now as well there should be, because he's accurate and timely with his throws. Same alignment here, except there's no motion. St. Brown, same exact route. Slot out on a 2nd and 8. Anytime you see twins to one side, a normal split with St. Brown, I think there's a potential for this route. Number one. Number two, I don't know that I've ever seen this one dropped or incomplete. Those guys, St. Brown and Goff, they're just so good at being on time together. They make it really difficult for defenses to defend that slot out with the complementary routes that could be underneath of it, emanating from the other side of the field. It's not like he's not winning against man, he being Goff. I mean, it's not like he's not making great throws against man as his receivers win. This is Jameson Williams against Diggs. A little in cut. I think it's a little bit more sharp of an in cut than perhaps what I was able to draw there. Quick decisions against man. I almost wonder if you're better off to play zone against Goff and just switch up your zones often. I feel like against man, he's just got such an ability to recognize it quickly. I don't pretend to know who the, quote, smartest quarterbacks are in the NFL. If Jared Goff is not one of them, I don't know who it is. He knows. I think he knows the coverages pre-snap with a high degree of reliability. 70%, 80%, 90%. I'm not sure. He's just very comfortable seeing things post-snap and then getting the ball out fast. I actually remember last year in that Packers game, he had to pump fake 2 or 3 times. So whatever they were doing from a coverage standpoint, they did give him some pause. This will be the last route that I show. Anytime you've got St. Brown changing directions. So it's a China in, making it look like an out and then bringing it back into the middle of the field. Look at the location of the ball, though, where this is thrown. High, perhaps slightly to the inside. It is obviously a touchdown, 5-yard touchdown to St. Brown. Those guys have a great connection. It doesn't surprise me that they're ridiculously efficient in the last 4 or 5 weeks. I think St. Brown's catch-to-target ratio is something insane recently, whereby he's like 17 of 20, 18 of 22, somewhere in that range. I should know this. I quoted it in a video late last week. Forgive me for not remembering what I actually said in a video. But it's more than just him and St. Brown. The efficiency to all other guys tells you everything you need to know about what Jared Goff is getting done right now. The work that Ben Johnson and the offensive staff are putting in to get him the looks that they want, so he can recognize them, and that's all real stuff. That's a real dynamic. It doesn't detract from the fact that Jared Goff is completing 83% of his passes in the last 5 weeks. And it's not like the overwhelming majority of those are to St. Brown. There's some to Tim Patrick, some to the running backs. Brock Wright, you saw for a touchdown here. Sam Laporta, I think, has 5 catches in his last 6 targets. Doesn't seem like he's getting a ton of, quote, targets each game. We haven't found a 7 or 8 target game yet for him in 2024. It's coming because he has that kind of ability. I'm not sure how the Packers solve this issue. They've got to take something away, or at least try to slow something down to the extent that the complementary plays off of it don't work. They don't afford you, as the Detroit Lions offense, the same space on the complementary plays, play action off of a run concept. The anomalous / trick plays, I think, is a huge tiebreaker here in this matchup because they can execute them, and Ben Johnson's guys have illustrated that, starting in the Cowboys game where they went to so many different jumbo looks, trick plays, if you will, and even last week against the Titans, the halfback toss pass by Montgomery to Laporta for a touchdown. This is a fun offense to watch. Hopefully I presented it in a way that is somewhat interesting for you. If you enjoy these videos, first of all, please like the video, comment down below to help this one gain access to a larger audience. Basically, that's how the YouTube algorithm operates. The more people like and comment, the larger the audience this video gets pushed out to. Number 2, if you think other Lions fans would enjoy this video, please consider grabbing a link to this content, sharing it out on social media so other Lions fans can enjoy it as well. If you've ever given any thought to supporting my work via Patreon, it's $4.99 a month for Lions fans. Get you access to a Lions Discord, which is a secure / closed off community whereby trolls cannot suddenly appear to argue with points that we generally would accept as Lions fans, or people that enjoy the Lions team and try to break it down, evaluate it, and understand things to a higher level, which is what we're all shooting for, at least in my opinion. Appreciate you guys' time.